doing the intro.
We're on, just waiting for us to go on the radio, everybody. Hi, everybody. We're doing the countdown. We're going to be on Lilydale Blog Talk Radio in just a minute. Karen will let us know. She'll signal us when we're ready to start. All right. Welcome, everybody.
Welcome to Angie and Friends.
Welcome.
This is Angie and Friends, Spiritual Conversations. Thank you for joining us tonight as we have Reverend Angela Hewitt-App from Lilydale as a registered medium. She has spiritual conversations and guests every week, and we're grateful for you to be joining us today.
Yeah, thank you very much. So I'm Reverend Angie Hewitt-Apt, and right next to me is my co-conspirator, or my co-host, actually, Karen Sully. So we're really happy to see you tonight. Yeah, we're excited to be on Blog Talk Lilydale Radio, also streaming on Santosha's Facebook page and my Facebook page. And we're on every Monday at 7 p.m. And as Karen said, I'm a registered Lilydale medium. I'm quite excited about that because I've been a practicing medium for 25 years. I'm owner of Santosha Holistic Center located near Buffalo, New York. But this is my first year as a Lilydale registered medium. So I'm happy about that. Hi, Mary. Nice to see you on. So today, Karen and I were talking, and we thought, what could we talk about? Like two friends kind of getting together here, and we decided to talk about signs, and the signs that every one of us receives from our loved ones on the other side. And I also believe that we get these same signs from our spirit guides all the time. Okay. So, and part of the reason I wanted to do this today too, is I have a good friend. Her name is Margie F. I'll say, I won't say her last name, but she passed away in February. And I've been getting signs all the time that she's been around me. And part of some of the signs I've been getting from her are she gave me things, and she always gave me like inspirational quotes or inspirational little gifts. And lately, for some reason, I keep on going into drawers and I find a card she gave me, or I find something she gave me. And I kept feeling like that's a sign for her, and I wanted to honor her and remember her. And one of the things that Margie and I did together is she was so excited about the signs she got all the time from her loved ones that she came to me and she said, Angie, I have an idea for a workshop that we should have at Santosha. And I said, okay, what is it? And she said, we're going to call it Sign Everywhere Sign. So Margie and I got together at Santosha. It was a special evening. And we got a group of people together, and we all shared the different signs that we get from our loved ones. And one of the reasons that I feel it's important to share the signs is because sometimes we're not sure, are they signs or aren't they signs? How can you tell, right? So talking about them helps you see, because as I said, I'm a medium, so I've been doing readings for years, and I get your loved ones. They come through to me all the time. In fact, I feel like I'm lucky because I get to have a conversation with them, and I get to know them myself, which is pretty neat. And I'll tell you, every one of the loved ones wants to let you know that they're okay, that they still exist, although without a physical body. And they want to make sure, they want to come in and they want to offer guidance. They very much still care about you, and they're still very much invested in your life. And of course, Karen and I have talked about this, that our loved ones don't have a physical body anymore, so they can't. Hi, Sharon. Thank you. So our loved ones don't have a physical body anymore, so they have to communicate with us a different way. So how do they communicate? Is through mind language or telepathic communication. And you know what? This is nothing new for any of us, telepathic communication. Okay, it's how many times, like, have you all of a sudden somebody comes to your mind that you haven't seen in a couple of years, okay, and all of a sudden they're on your mind, and 2 days goes by and your phone rings or you get a text and it's from that person. Okay, so the reason that they came to your mind was a telepathic communication thing where they were thinking about you, thinking about calling you, and you were picking up on that thought. So that is the way that our loved ones on the other side communicate with us. Okay. It's in thought language. If I want to communicate with my mother, I ask her a question. And honestly, I don't do it with mind language. I'll say, hey, mom, help me out. I need help with something. And sure enough, if I take a second I'll even close my eyes and it's like, let the answer come in, and I'll see a picture of something, or I'll hear something that's a little bit louder than a thought in my mind, or I'll get a feeling about something and I'll have my answer, and I'll get tingles. So I know for sure that I'm communicating with her. And I'm one of the lucky ones because not lucky that my mom's on the other side as much as I'm lucky that before she crossed over, we talked about this. And she told me to ask her, yeah, that sounds like my mom, right? Care?
Yeah, and how she said she was going to bug you more than, yeah, go ahead, finish the story.
Yeah, she said, I know I drive you crazy. You can admit it. And I just want to let you know that when I'm on the other side, I'm going to drive you even more crazy. So, and I'll attest it's true. It's true. So, but she comes in all the time and I get those signs all the time. And even I sometimes wonder, like, is that a sign or isn't that a sign? I kind of want to know.
Angie, I was always wondering if you thought that working with me was a sign because your mom's name was Karen. So,
actually, I did.
Have you ever thought of it that way?
Yeah, I just showed my
Yeah.
gum. I just showed my gum every day. I have gum in my mouth, but I did think that. And this is goes even further, and that's kind of funny. But when I opened Santosha, my original partners in Santosha, their names were Don and Karen. My mother's name is Karen, and my father's name is Don. So I think my mother continues to send me Karens, and I know, hey, if that person's name is Karen, I got the right person, right?
That's good. That's good. I like it.
Yeah. So Karen, I'm going to read this. I have something I found, and we're going to tell some stories. Oh, I wanted to tell you guys, everybody, all the viewers and people that are watching us on Facebook. If you have a story about a sign that you got from one of your loved ones, please call in or write it, because this is a conversation that we're having with each other, but we want to have this conversation with all of you. So the number is 818-739-8818. Or you can write a comment in either one of our Facebook feeds and we'll see them. We have them set up tonight correctly, right, Karen? So we see them both now.
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, definitely. Write something in. So, okay. Hi, Lisa. Okay, hi, Val. All right, so I'm going to read something to you, and then Karen and I are going to tell you some of our stories, because I think sometimes if you hear somebody else's stories, it can help you. And I know, your loved ones want you to know that they're around and they want to communicate with you. So how do you know that if you're receiving signs from heaven? No matter how far you feel from your deceased loved ones, they are watching over you. Through mediumship, I've learned that the space between life and death is much thinner than we think it is. I believe that our loved ones on the other side send us signs, and if we listen closely, we can communicate with them. Okay, and that's true. And that I'm a medium, so I get the privilege of speaking with your loved one, so I know that. But we're all mediums. Every single one of us is intuitive, so every single one of us can have these communications all the time. So a couple ways that our loved ones come to us. Okay. Dreams. Okay. A visitation occurs when a deceased loved one's soul visits you in a dream. People are much more receptive to spiritual messages while they are dreaming. Departed loved ones can view dream time as an opportunity to get across messages to you. And I know that there are times that I wake up in the morning and I can hear my mother's voice in my head. And it's like I can just feel the essence of her, because I know that I was having a dream about her, and she was giving me advice or guidance about something in my life. So I'm sure lots of you have that happen. How about you, Care?
Yeah, definitely. I had a dream one time with a friend of ours, and she had crossed at age 40, very young, similar to my age at the time. And I had a dream all night that I was in a convertible with her, and her hair was flying, and it was like a Thelma and Louise kind of story where we were just having fun in this convertible. And that was one of my last dreams. And she was in the hospital with cancer, pretty progressed. And then
Wow.
I realized, like 2 days later, something she had crossed. And to me, it felt like the Thelma and Louise, when they knew they were going to cross and they took the jump. So I made the correlation of that story and being her saying goodbye. And I don't know. But to me, it meant, I think you can tell when the sign is coming from something. You have like a little bit of a
Yeah.
different feeling with it, or it makes
Yeah.
you think in a certain way. So definitely,
Yeah.
we have
It's,
a thing too here, and
oh, go ahead.
um,
Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
yeah. Do you want to go ahead?
Hey, Val, curious if they are communicating with us a lot. Have they not passed over? I've had people ask me that, and I'm not sure how to answer it. Curious if they are communicating with us a lot. Have they not passed over? Does that mean if they haven't crossed? I'm not sure. You
Yeah,
know what that?
I think she's meaning if they're talking to us a lot, does that mean they haven't quite completely crossed over? I'm not sure if
Oh,
that's
I gotcha. I gotcha. No, 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 no. I honestly feel that when they completely have crossed over and accepted it, and they're connected, say, with their spirit guides and higher selves, I feel they can communicate with us better. So it's not like, I know what you mean, because I've heard that too. Like, if they're communicating or they're coming through, does that mean like they haven't crossed all the way over yet? No. In my experience, when somebody has accepted it and they cross over, in fact, I've actually done guidance with people with this, and when they've crossed over and they've accepted it, they actually can come back and help you more. So no, not at all. I mean, I feel that who what you're talking about is they've crossed and probably bringing through even more wisdom. So yeah, thank you for that question. That was good. Okay,
and
yeah,
here,
Karen got
yeah,
that.
yeah, and here's a story from Sharon, and it's one of those immediately crossover stories. After my mom passed away, the funeral director came over so I could choose the prayer card that I liked best. After he left, I saw on the clear table a long or a curly long silver hair, my mom's. Since then, I find hair sometimes and I save them. Wacky, yes, laugh out loud. But she also turns the chandelier lights on sometimes, reminding us that she's still around. I love hearing these stories because they're just so.
Me too.
I'm struggling with the setting sun, which is like right at my computer. So I'm sorry I'm moving in and out here, but I love hearing other people's stories too because I don't
Me
find
too.
hair, but I've heard of that quite often that people do find hair.
I've heard that too. I remember that reminds me. I love this that you're thanks, Sharon. I love that we're telling stories, and I love hearing everybody's stories too, because it reminds you of things that have happened to you as well, so that your loved ones are around. And when my mom passed away, she passed away at my sister's house in Texas, and my sister has an animal rescue, and she has about 50 dogs and lots of horses, and it's a pretty it's a fun place to go. So when my mom passed away, and this had never happened, it was probably like 1 o'clock in the morning, and all of a sudden, it was 5 minutes after she passed, all the dogs started howling. And my sister said, like, that had never happened at 1 o'clock in the morning before, right after after my mom passed. So we knew that was a sign. So yeah, I love that. Yeah, yeah, Sharon. She said she's never heard of anyone else that got hair. Yeah, that's very, very cool. I love that story. I love that your
Um,
mom did that.
do we want to
Oh,
talk
were you saying?
songs, Angie? Susan J here is saying that she gets a lot of songs through messages, and I know we talked prior to this that you've heard some different songs, and so have I. And
Yeah,
did you
yeah.
want to
I'll
share your stories of how they
sure.
communicate or how they can hijack the channel?
Yeah, I don't know. They can when somebody's on the other side. There's something about the electrical current or the way the energy is, because I know that they can mess around with electricity because I have it all the time, and somehow I hear you with songs. And I'll give you a quick story. If anybody knows that song, and this is probably not what it's titled, but it's "Dance with the Lady with the Hole in Her Stocking." Her knees keep her knocking. You don't want me to sing. So anyway, that's an old song, and my mother, when I was a kid, sang that song all the time. So, and when I want a sign from my mother, one of my loved ones, I'll ask, like, give me a sign. I want to know that you're around. So one day, and usually it's I want to get an answer about something or something's bugging me. So I get in my car and I turn the car on, and I always have the radio on, and the radio comes on. And there's a song by Anita Baker or Sade, I don't remember, but one of the lines in the song is, "Dance with the lady with the hole in her stocking and feel good. Don't you feel good?" Right? Pretty something, huh, Karen?
Yeah. I'm following.
Yeah, yeah.
Before my
So
time, but
yeah. So, I know. So you're funny, Karen. So I knew right away, like when I heard that, it's like, oh my gosh, like that's my mom giving me a sign. What's the chances that I would turn the car on and not just that song, but that line? Okay. So that was a good one. I also had, sometimes I feel this happens. You have a song that comes into your mind because again, your loved ones are communicating with you through mind language. So I all of a sudden one day, you know how sometimes you get a song in your mind and you're like, oh, I want to get a song out of my mind. And I had "Love Me Tender" by Elvis, and I kept hearing that over and over and over again. And I forgot, because normally when something like that happens to me, I stop and I say, oh, Sharon said it's Joni Mitchell's song. I'm reading the comments. I got to not read them while I'm talking. Okay, so that "Love Me Tender," I'm like, why is that song in my mind? That's not one of my favorite songs. And then I remembered that my mother and my daughter both loved Elvis. My daughter lived in Memphis. They used to go to Graceland all the time. And I realized that my daughter's birthday was coming up in a week. And that's probably why I had that song. So I called my daughter and I told her. She started crying, because a lot of times it's the way something makes you feel, right? She started crying. And as soon as I did that and I gave that message to my daughter, it went away. So I didn't have that was the way I got rid of the song in my mind. But I know that was from my mom.
yeah, I had a similar experience. I was with my boyfriend at the time. Well, he's still my boyfriend, but at the time we heard a song come on, and for me, I had it recorded, burned on a CD, and it's "Chug a Lug, Chug a Lug," and very old song as well. And Tom had just been talking about his father and how he misses him. His father died kind of earlier in life, and he just
Yeah.
stopped dead in the tracks. He's like, I don't know anyone else who has that song or knows that song, let alone has it in their car recorded on a CD. And I felt like I was delivering a message for him, and so he was just like, really, it kind of like made the connection, like, wow, I was just thinking about my dad, and then I hear this song, and it kind of like freaked him out a little, because he's come a long way, but at first he was like,
You've
how
come a
did you
long
do
way.
that? Yeah.
I know. Well, you know what? I think we all think that sometimes too. I'm like, whoa, how did that come through? Or, even those of us that believe. But Tom's getting better. You let me give him a message not too long ago.
You did, and he did. He let you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
I
know,
thought
I know.
maybe
I
he would
couldn't
hop
believe it.
on tonight, but I don't see him. So,
Yeah, I think I was practicing or something. So, do you want to bring up Joanne's got a story there? I don't know if it's a story or a question. Looks like
oh,
a
okay.
story.
Let's bring it up. Yeah. You want to go ahead, Ange? You can read it.
Yeah. I was recently at a listing appointment and the mom had passed. We started talking about prices and I heard a phone ring. There was no old phone connected. It was ringing for a minute and the gentleman went down to the basement and answered it. No one was there. I know it was their mother. They started crying. It was awesome. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, I love that. You know what, Joanne? I'm getting chills while I'm hearing that story, and I completely agree. Completely agree. Yeah, that's an
Yeah.
amazing one. Yeah, you know what? I always think this too. When you get chills, I always get goosebumps and chills, and then I know it's like I know for sure that that's who this is, or that this is correct. And you know what? That brings me to I could share another story. See, like you hear one, and I bet you a lot of you who are listening are going, "Oh my gosh, I heard this," or "I heard this." Share them. But my uncle, if I don't know if my cousin's on, Amy. Amy sometimes jumps on our shows, and her dad, my uncle Ed, passed away probably about 7 years ago, and he was in hospice. And he was a phone guy. Like that guy was on the phone like all the time, and he'd be on for hours. My mother loved him because he would sit and talk and gossip and everything. So when he passed away, I'm pretty sure the story goes like this: that my aunt's phone was in her purse, turned off. When they were walking out of hospice, her phone started to ring. Her turned off phone started to ring. She pulled it out, and it was showing that my uncle, who had just passed away, was calling her. So that was a pretty amazing story as well. Did you have one on the with that?
I'm reading your comments on your personal page, and someone's talking about how you can get them from pets as well. And have you had any pet experiences where your pets bring things through, or
Have I?
deceased past? Yeah, I've heard of other people where they see the cat walking, or there will be a ball out or something that they know they put away or something, but I haven't personally had anything like that.
I've had it where I'll be walking through the room, and out of the corner of my eye, we had a golden retriever for a long time, and he was such a good boy, and I would walk by, and his place was the couch. He always loved lying on the couch, and I'd walk by out of the corner of my eye and see him. So yeah, I have had that happen. Yes, I have, and you know what else I think happens with animals is I think other animals sense them, because I'll sometimes like if you ever have had a dog or a cat that like your dog is barking at something, and you're like, what is that dog barking at, right? And a lot of
Right,
times like
right.
animals, I think they sense it. And honestly, the other thing that I think too is kids sense it as well. You know, I know like my grandkids have said they see angels, or they've seen things, and I think we're all born with a connection to our intuition. So little kids sometimes are more open to the experience or the signs than we are. So I believe that when my grandkids have seen it, I have the conversation with them because I believe it. So we
Right.
got another one for Val too here, Care. Oh, I love that
Oh,
I love that you guys are commenting.
yep, a phone. My brother used to call me on the phone in his room, and it wasn't hooked to the wall. Ange, I don't know why, but we're not seeing your personal feed tonight. But there's a story here, and I'm reading, and it's from Melanie, and they
My
talk
sister,
about
that's my
the
sister.
252 Midland. I'm like, where have I heard that address before? So you want to see that story
What did
with
she
your
say? Is that
mom?
what oh, she's telling
Yeah,
me to
she
tell
said
that
she
story?
wakes up at 252 sometimes, and I know that's my mom because we grew up on 252 Midland. And it was funny because I was like, I know that address, but it's your story that you say, and how you
Yeah.
wake up at certain times and see MOM and different things.
Well, that's the thing with my mom is we wake up at 2:52. It happens to me all the time too. And now when I wake up and it's 2:52, I go, Mom, all right, what do you want? And I let the message I just let it come in. What do you want? Why are you waking me up? But this is even good too. I don't even know if I've ever told my sister this story, so I'll tell it. And some of you maybe have heard it before. I don't know. But so 2:52, and it's like I feel like somebody shakes me awake. Well, then not too long after that was happening, I woke up, and it was like somebody woke me up, and I looked at the clock and I went, it's 3:03. Okay, so I'm like, it's not 2:52, it's 3:03. Oh, it took me so long to fall asleep. I'm never going to fall asleep, one of those nights, right? And so I'm like, I don't know why I woke up at 3:03. It's not Mom at 2:52. So I go back to sleep, and I lay my head down, and I want you to notice the next time your digital phone says 3:03, because when you look at it sideways, that's MOM. Okay. So I thought that was pretty good. And I heard my mother say, so How do you like that? That's pretty good, huh? Because she would have said something like that. So yeah, I
That's
love that I got to
awesome.
tell that one. Yeah, it was pretty good. It was good. Do you have any? Oh, okay, here's Sharon Adler about her dog. You
Yeah.
see it?
Oh, yeah. Do you want that one? I can bring up. There's another story over here. My dog in
Oh, all right,
spirit.
okay.
I felt cobwebs on my mouth. Someone who saw spirit told me that my dog was licking my mouth. Oh,
Oh
okay.
yeah, yeah,
That's wild.
definitely.
Yeah.
I think they do that. I've heard stories from clients that have told me that they wake up and they feel like somebody was sitting on the bed with them, like their grandmother or their mother or something came and sat, and then and then they look at the bed or turn the light on, and of course they don't see the person sitting there, but there's an indentation, in the bed still, on the blanket.
Ooh.
So yeah, I thought that was
Now
good.
that's kind
Yeah,
of fun. Yeah.
that was
And
fun.
how about
Yeah.
we were gonna say about people lookalikes and different people looking like other people. I know when my boyfriend had passed, he was part of Local 17 where they were excavators, and I went by an excavator and I swore I saw him, and I kept driving and driving, and those lookalike moments where you have a good story with that man that looked like
Hmm.
your
My
dad, was
stepfather.
it?
Yeah, my stepdad, who was like a dad to me. Oh yeah, that was a good one. So I was having, ladies, you'll understand a day like this where you're not having a good day, and you kind of think to yourself, you know what, Chico's is right there behind Santosha. Maybe I should go over and buy myself a new top or something, and that'll make me feel better. So if you know my stepdad, he was always somebody, he always tried to make you feel better, and he'd always give you compliments. So I walk into Chico's and there's a man standing there, and I don't know if he was with his wife or what he was doing, but he walks over to me, and I looked at him, and he actually had the same color blue eyes that my stepfather had. And he came over and he said, "Oh, there you are, buying something, thinking that's going to make you feel better. Why don't you just look in the mirror and see how beautiful you are inside and out?" And at first I'm like, who is this guy? This is kind of strange. And
Right.
then,
A,
yeah, right.
a total
Yeah, it was
stranger,
weird.
right? Yep.
A total stranger. But then I looked at him and I'm like, wow, he has the same eyes as my stepfather. And I always believe everything happens for a reason, and not that I would talk to some strange guy on the street, what have you. But it was
Right.
in Chico's right by my center. I think I was pretty safe. And honestly, like the message and what he said to me would have been something similar. And he was right. And you know what? Chico's probably didn't like that he was there because I didn't buy anything, and I kind of realized like buying that shirt or what have you wasn't going to do it. His message was really good. So I felt like that was like, in reading about that, it's like our guides will send our loved ones will send us somebody that will remind us of them and give us a message. So I feel they can. I don't know how they do this stuff, but they can. There's too many stories like that for it not
Right.
to be real. You got
Right.
another one there?
Ange, we have 2 more minutes. Yeah, we have 2 more minutes for the radio
Blog
show. So
talk.
I'm not sure if you want to wrap up with
We can
that and keep
continue.
on
Yeah, yeah,
Facebook.
yeah. Well, everybody on Facebook, we're going to wrap up quick with the radio show, and then we'll continue on for a few more minutes with all of you, because I love that we're getting these stories. So, everybody, thank you so much. I'm Lilydale Blog Talk Radio for joining us. My name is Angie Hewitt Apt. I am a registered Lilydale medium. I want to just remind you that there are other shows, other mediums have shows. John White has Wednesdays at 8 p.m. on Lilydale Blog Talk Radio. Wednesdays with Willa is on Wednesday mornings on Blog Talk Radio. Wake Up to Spirit with Celeste Elliott is on Thursdays, I believe at 10 a.m. And actually today at noon, on Mondays at noon, is also Reverend Sharon Hill. So there's quite a few shows. I want to let you know that Lilydale is going to be open this summer. I'm excited about that. They're limiting how many people can come in the gate, so it's probably a good idea to get on their website and get your ticket ahead of time, but you can come down. There's going to be stump services at a different time, but definitely we're going to be there, and I am super excited about that. So Thank you on Blog Talk Radio for joining us. Thank you for joining us on Facebook too. We're going to continue on in just a second and share the rest of the stories because I am excited that we are sharing stories. This is what I want this to be, conversations with all of us. And it is. It is. Right, Kara?
Yep, that's great.
Okay.
Thank you again for joining us. Have a great night.
Thank you. Okay, so here we go. So who's got a question or comment? Are our Facebook people still on? Send some hearts so we know you're still here.
There we go.
Half an hour goes by quick.
It does. I told you should do an hour with them for sure.
You should see how much
we have stories on your personal feed, but I know we have stories on your personal feed, but they're not coming up. So I'm going to read some here. There's a lot of people talking about their loved ones. They rarely listen to the radio. I just prefer the quiet. But anyway, the first week after my husband passed, I was at a friend's house and on their radio was Joe Cocker's song, "You Are So Beautiful to Me." I cried and cried. I know that was from my husband to me. It was such a gift. I think for me, the most emotional ones that come through are songs. For me, for sure, like those just seem to be, unmistakably, like it's not your mind playing with you. Oops, wrong thing.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. So I saw. I feel the same way, and you know what? I feel that too. That was also from your husband because that's how he felt about you. I'm connecting in a little bit, but I feel like he loved you more than anything, and he loved how beautiful you were, but how beautiful your life was together. But I feel like that you're right. That when that happens, it's the way that it makes you feel, and you just know. And that's a lot of times how, like, we get those messages and we know that they're real. We just know it. We get that strong feeling inside. And that's a lot of the ways our intuition comes. And that's one of the ways that our loved ones communicate with us telepathically. So remember that always, and trust it, and trust those strong feelings. And I always feel this. My mother said to us, when you get those signs from me, write them down, so because you write them down, you forget them, and then sometimes, like, you think, was that real or not? And then you write a few more down and it all comes together, and it was. They definitely communicate with us, definitely.
Yeah, and they give us great confirmation. I know I was having a meeting again. I'll mention Elizabeth Diamond, who was a friend of mine who passed, and we were having a conversation, myself and another friend, on what to do with her website, because she had a website, and where are we going to keep it alive and different things like that. And we made some decisions, and I'm like, oh, I hope that was okay with Elizabeth. And when I got in the car, the first song, I started the car up and it was Rihanna's "Shine Bright Like a Diamond." So I felt like, okay, she was there with us and she approved of what we were going to do. And you need those confirmations sometimes if you're planning on doing something and you're like, oh, would mom like this? So I think that the timing of those signs is very, very instrumental too. Let's see if we have any stories about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. A quick one. A friend of mine. I worked at a car dealership for a long time, and there was a young man who was in his 30s who actually passed away. He had cancer, and it went through his bones. And we were at the hospital with him when he passed and all. And when we were walking out of the hospital, his mom, of course, was very upset. And when we left, we walked out, and there was a car, and the car was kind of dirty, and written in the car was "Hi, MOM, hi, mom." So she felt right away, and I was standing there with her, and I'm like, whoa, because that was like her thing, is I just want to know he's okay. And she saw that, because that's what we want to know, is that they're okay. And that's why they come through to let us know that. But, she saw that, and we all just knew. We knew.
Do you have any tips? I see Carrie's asking, what if you're looking for signs and messages? So is there any tips that you know of on how to enhance? I mean, besides meditation probably, and just paying attention more, is there anything you can do to kind of fleece spirit, if you will, or
I would say Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Ask them. Like, I feel like ask them. But I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what works. I mean, meditation. I sound like a broken record. I'm always going to say that, but meditation really is key. Okay. The more you meditate, it's like the more you open yourself up to connecting with spirit. But I'll tell you another thing that works is I'll get a picture of the person. And I'll look at a picture of the person. I'll have a picture of my mom, and I'll say, okay, mom, I want to connect, and I'll just kind of keep on like looking at the picture, and I can feel myself connect because her energy is still there with the picture. And a lot of times I'll open myself up that way, and I'll start to get signs that way. So I found that helps a lot. And a
And I
lot of it too is, let me say one more quick thing. Don't get attached to it. I want this particular sign. Like, you might think, I mean, when my mom died, what I wanted was, really, I wanted her to be standing in front of me, or I wanted something very specific. And when I let go of that and I said, okay, show me a sign, and she's going to come through and show me the sign that she can show me or communicate with me best from the other side. And so I feel like, let go. Don't look for something specific. Ask for a sign and stay open to it, and you'll get it. Did that help? Did that help, Care?
and and I think so. Well, we'll have Carrie. Does that help you? I know another source for me, when my boyfriend had crossed, sorry, the same stories with the same people that I have crossed, but he presented a peach. A medium said, "Here, he's bringing you a peach," and I didn't want a peach from him. I wanted a hug, a kiss, or something. And so I wasn't sure how to interpret the peach, and I was told you can go to a dream dictionary and look up symbols if you don't already have a system or a lexicon of what things already mean to you. And sure enough, I looked up the peach, and it's succulent, tasty, juicy. It's love and romance. So
Wow.
once I knew that the peach wasn't just a random peach, it made more sense to me. And I think that if you do see something in nature or something's calling your eye, it may be a sign, and you didn't know if it was um, a specific thing, but you look it up and then you realize, oh, that is a specific thing. And we were talking, there's some great websites. So if you just type in animal totems are awesome. There's a lot of animals that may remind you of different people, but they
Mm-hmm.
all come through with mediums. And there's Animal Talk and or Animal Speak by Ted
Animal Speak
Andrews.
by Ted
And,
Andrews. Love that
and
book.
he wrote
Love
a
that.
book called Plants Speak, and it's all different flowers and different plants. And so, obviously, if we're observing in nature, and
Definitely.
Carrie
There.
saying she was on a date with a total loser, and I could hear my grandma saying, "Run." So
Oh,
I think she got it because she was talking about how she's had a dream book. Oh yeah, so Carrie has a dream book. So that's
very
another
cool.
great place to look
Yeah.
for interpreting signs that you may see. Like, why did I see I just saw a fox the other day, and I'm like, why am I seeing a fox? So I pulled out, well, I know fox are camouflage and try to blend with your surroundings, and it made sense for the question and the thoughts on my mind right at that moment. But pay attention to that stuff because it could be your spirit
True.
guides, which
Yeah.
somebody else has a story about up here. Joanne says she had a spirit guide tell her that one of her loved ones was going to roll their ankle at a small party. Yes, my son's girlfriend rolled her ankle. I told her she's now considered a loved one. I wish I could hear my spirit guides more. And I think that
Well,
comes with opening up and tuning into that
yeah.
channel.
Yeah. And you know what else too? I would say, yeah, definitely. Like, the more you meditate or open up and develop your intuition, you'll be able to hear that more and pay attention. Like, Karen's got a good point about the signs that come to us. But you know what though? Yeah, and I always think sometimes we get things like that and you don't know what to do because you'd hate to go and tell her that, right? But and kind of you feel like you're giving that to her then. But you can always send healing, right? Or pay attention. Like, I always feel like send healing. And maybe that's what you did. And so maybe it happened to her. Maybe it wasn't as bad. So yeah, and she became one of your loved ones after that too. So I love that too.
Ange,
Karen.
we have another question over here in your personal feed. Oh, go
Okay.
ahead.
No, go
It's
ahead. Go
if
ahead. Yeah,
someone
yeah.
died a long time ago, do they still come around as much? So if they, I was giving a reading to someone in my, my very amateur days here of giving readings, and she did. I insisted it was her mother. I felt that, and she said, "Oh no, my mother's died too many years ago for it to be her." Does it matter when spirits cross, or they can still show up as much as
They
a
can still
recent cross?
they can still show up just as much. Yeah, they still can.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah. I
I
mean,
feel like I feel like our loved ones sometimes they're busy, and maybe you feel like you haven't heard anything from them in a while. Like I've connected with my mom, and I'm like, what are you doing over there? I'd like to kind of know. And she showed, yeah, and of course my mother's like,
where have
oh,
you been?
don't be so nosy, so that's what she just said. But actually she showed me, like, she's gardening and she's cooking, and she doesn't have a physical body, but she's going to Hawaii. She loved going to the beach and doing those things. So sometimes they're busy doing things, but if you call them, they'll always. I've never had it where somebody doesn't show up. Sometimes, like, maybe they don't show up. Like, maybe I'll do a reading and somebody, maybe they're busy, they didn't come through that time, but the next time they do. So I don't feel that. I got to tell just a quick thing, how you're talking about the animal signs. And my father, when my father passed away, and I know you know this story, Karen, about the hawk. Is all of a sudden I lived in North Tonawanda, so right in the city, and I'm looking out my window one day, and there's a hawk sitting on the telephone wire right across the street from the house, staring at my house and not moving away. So I go outside and I'm taking pictures of it. And I'm thinking, what does this mean? The animal told him I didn't hit it. And so I got my Ted Andrews Animal Speak book out, and I'm reading hawks are spiritual. It's a spiritual sign that somebody's coming through, or a guide. And then all of a sudden it hit me, and I went, oh yeah, my father had just reminded me of the story that he had a construction company and he couldn't think of what to name his company. And then he looked up at the sky and he saw a red-tailed hawk flying around, and he named the company Skyhawk Construction. So that was a heck of a sign for my dad, I felt. But I had
Yeah,
to look.
yeah, that sounds it. Especially
I
when you
had
forget and they trigger happy memories or something. We didn't talk about smell, but I was having a reading, and someone said, it was just like you could smell bacon and eggs, and it was like my grandmother who was there cooking, and you could just smell. But I often smell the smell of a smoker, where my grandfather used to do fish in his smoker, and I'll smell that smell, and it's just like I know he's around, and it's such a unique smell that signs can also come as smells.
Yeah, they sure can. My grandmother came to me one time with the smell of a perm, when a woman gets a perm solution, and I kept smelling that in my house, and I didn't know why. And a lot of times you don't know why, you have to think about it, right? So all of a sudden, I'm learning that I say, okay, why am I smelling this? Who's here? Who's here with the sign? And I saw my grandmother, and of course, then I remembered. I don't know how I could have forgot this. My grandmother was a hairdresser, and her hair beauty salon was in her house. And every time we walked in the door of the house, you would smell that smell, because she did hair of all the little old ladies in the neighborhood, and they all got permanents. So yeah, I agree with you
That's
on
a
the smell
unique
for
smell.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's
Valerie
some
says,
people mentioning that yeah, she smells her dad's cigar. I'll bring up the comment because I can.
yes, I
At the
know. I know.
switchboard here.
Yeah, we could do that. Actually, Joanne wants to know if I ever worked at a school. I no, I never did. I would love to know why you think that, but maybe we know each other from someplace. I'm thinking your name sounds familiar to me.
Yeah, North
So
Tonawanda, that's an area where you used to
yeah,
hang and reside.
yeah, for sure. So anything else we have, or
No, I think we're caught up with all of this. Did you want to talk about some of the events maybe we're having later this week? And
yeah,
maybe that the more spiritual stuff you can attend, you can really hone your channel. I know tuned in, turned on, or tuned in, turned on, and tapped in. Or Abraham Hicks. But the more you tap in, tune in, turn on, however that phrase goes,
I
um,
gotcha.
with the classes and stuff, you really open up to all those extra senses. So, and
Yeah.
Tom
Well,
Kratzley, right, is on Friday.
yeah,
Is
yeah, we
he?
have Tom Kratzley on Friday. Oh, you know, I want to mention this to everybody that if you see a class now with Santosha that you'd like to attend and you can't for some reason, now that we have Zoom, this is one of the blesses in the mess of everything that's gone on. We record every class. So if you want to attend a class and you can't, you can still register it for it and we'll send you the recording. But so this Friday we have Tom Kratzley, who is co-director of Fellowships of the Spirit, the School of Healing and Prophecy in Lilydale, where I went to school. And Tom is one of the best healers I've ever come across. He does sound healing, he does elemental healing, all kinds of things. And I feel like we all need some healing right now. So I asked Tom to teach a class. And it's this Friday at, I think it's at what time? 6:30, 7 o'clock? Can you pull it up
6:30,
here?
6:30 to
Yeah, okay,
8:30.
6:30. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I'm gonna bring it up.
yeah. Hmm. Oh, she's gonna try to bring it up. And then Saturday, I'm teaching soul connecting to your soul. I'm sorry, soul blueprints. I'm thinking of something else. I can't think of the name of my own class right now, but soul blueprints. So it's I'm going to it's hypnosis and take you back and let you kind of see, because I feel like we make a plan for our lives before we come in, and so this is going to take you back to where you made that plan. Okay, we also come in, we have free will. So sometimes we come in with certain lessons that we decide we want to learn. And then after we learn the lesson, we can stop learning it. So sometimes going back and having that awareness of your soul blueprints, connecting with your spirit guides, because I'm going to connect you there. And that class is going to be this Saturday, 9:30 to 11:30, all on Zoom. So everything is still on Zoom. And what else do we have? Every Monday, we're going to have
We have
is
Becky's
radio
discussion group next. Becky's having
next.
her discussion group next Thursday. Oh, we
Yeah,
have the feng
that's
shui too.
yeah, feng
We have
shui.
the last
That's
night of feng shui, which it's
yep,
not too late to go to that because she's talking about the year of the rat, and you can still watch
yeah,
the recordings. We also just did a show on, a class on signs, which we should make available too, Angie, because that was all about a meditation for connection. We're going to turn in a lot of these classes into meditations that you can then
yeah,
download, some of them for free.
yeah.
Let's see what we have.
Hey,
Did you
go
want me to
back.
bring up that?
This is yeah, no, go back to where you just were with that. This is super, super exciting. Santosha and Fellowships of the Spirit are joining together for a spiritual development circle.
Oh,
So this
that.
is going to be on Zoom, and I'm facilitating. Karen's co-facilitating. There will be fellowship students there helping here and there with co-facilitating that. But that's where I was telling her that was coming up there. But spiritual development circle, all
Okay.
levels. Super excited about that. To get to do that with fellowships. So, and then what did you have there next? Brenda's reading.
Oh, I
Writing
brought up.
the Spirit is Wednesday too.
Oh, that one's a great one too. Yeah, not to bore
Yeah,
people with the classes, but there's something for everyone. We have a lot of great teachers coming through, and we're open to all sorts of things. So it's just, as this Zoom has been great for classes, I think, because we can get people in from different areas attending.
hmm
And
hmm
did you want me to bring up back? When is?
John
Oh,
White.
did you want? When was Brenda's class?
This Wednesday. This
Oh, this
Wednesday.
this coming Wednesday. Okay.
Yeah.
Spirit
See if
writing,
you take
right?
a look at where Karen's scrolling on, go on SantoshaHolisticCenter.com or go on Santosha's Facebook page and go to events, and everything, all our events are listed. And in fact, we'll tell you this, every Monday we're going to be here for Blog Talk Radio and our Angie and Friends spiritual conversations, and we'll make sure we share everything with you there as well. So yeah, we're
Yeah,
excited. We're excited. And that spiritual development
fantastic.
circle
Yeah,
will be
so check
wonderful
that
because
stuff out.
that's gonna go through the summer. So it's nice. I know things slow down a little bit in the summer, but not us. Take care.
Well, if
Yeah.
you have a busy week, would it, I used to, this is just totally irrelevant, but I love the story. I used to be a Tupperware salesperson, if you can believe that, with my skill set there of peddling Tupperware. And they always had rally. And this was back in the days where you got together and you used to do things. And they said, if you've had a rough week, rally needs you need rally. And if you've had a good week, rally needs you. So even if you're having a week where you don't need to connect spiritually, we need you to help us connect spiritually. So it was like always a mutual thing. So either you need it or you're giving it. Either way, it's receptive. And we're always so gracious for everyone who's been on tonight, sharing our time with us, and just great support system. Let me get this off the screen, and if I could remember how. Okay, there we go. Um,
I know.
but I
I
just am
know.
so grateful that so many people are joining us and that we have such a great Santosha family. So if there's anything that you
Thank
guys
you.
want to
Thank
talk about or hear about in specific or have a class about, we're always open to doing that. And I speak for Angie when I say we, because I'm just
you.
play a small role in Santosha. It's really her
Yeah.
center.
Oh, right. No, she plays the big
So,
role. She plays the big role. Are you kidding me? We wouldn't be Santa without you, Karen. Are you kidding?
well,
Karen,
only since the tech wave, I got to put on my saddle up and put on my headphones here, but I love it because
and
I'm a
I love it too.
techie. So
Yeah, no, I love it too. And you know what? Even on this our spiritual conversations, I love that everybody got on and shared. So thank you for sharing your story. And if there's a topic you want us to talk about, we would love to do that too. So thank you, everybody, so much. And we hope to see you next Monday, and we hope to see you at some of our workshops too on Zoom.
great. All right, Angela, I think we should head off. We said we were going to go for 45 minutes, so we're at
Yeah,
that point.
we're a little
And
longer.
thank
We
you
always go
guys,
a little longer.
everyone, for joining us. And we'll see you next week
Blessings,
or at a
everybody.
class, an
Blessings.
upcoming class.
Blessings. Yep. See you
Thanks.
soon.
Namaste.
Namaste.